You know, the patriarchy teaches us that men are usually introverted, uncommunicative beings by nature, and they resort to aggression instead of having a conversation because that's who they are. That's how nature made them to be. But the thing is this, if that was the case, God, after creating that flawed prototype, wouldn't have looked and said, wow, this is perfect. Everything is good. No, the man that God created, Adam, before the fall and before patriarchy became a thing, was a very communicative, non-egotistic person. When he saw Eve the first time, he said, you are the bone of my bone. You are the flesh of my flesh. You shall be called woman because you were taken from man. That statement almost sounds, romantic, poetic and all that. But one thing it was not was flattery. It was not flattery at all. He was basically acknowledging that she was equal to him and that they were the same species. So as a person, she did not need to explain herself over and over again. Men usually like to say, women are difficult and complicated. But he understood immediately that anything she feels, I feel it. She's just like me. She's like my bone. She's like my flesh. I'm not going to call her woo dog or woo snake. She is woman because we are the same human species. He didn't look down on her or consider her to be a deceivable person. Like a lot of people like to say, women are easily deceived. They need somebody to lead them. But all this changed once there was the fall. And immediately, the first thing Adam did was to accuse her for his own decision to eat the forbidden fruit. So at the end of it all, if you look at that story, you realize that Eve chose the right kind of man, but he ended up changing on her. And I've often heard pastors and people in general society blaming women for choosing wrong. But Eve chose right? So the thing is, it's not enough for you to marry a good man. Because a good man can change and become your worst nightmare. Just like Adam changed on Eve. He was romantic, he was caring, he was there, but suddenly he changed. The same man that celebrated her and sang poems for her threw her under the bus at the very first opportunity he got. Still on the matter, patriarchy generally teaches men not to acknowledge women so that they will not make her feel important. But I want you to understand that as a woman, you are important just because you exist. You don't need any man to validate your value. Some women keep trying, I did this and that, but he can never open his mouth and say, you don't need anybody to validate you. You are good enough. You are wonderfully and fearfully made. I also want you to know that if a man was vocal enough to say the right words, all the right sweet things to make you commit to him, then he has no reason to claim that he's not a romantic person or that he's a man of few words. That's all a lie. If he sees somebody that he likes enough, he will talk to that person. And I also want you to know that if he has enough words to tell you that he's not romantic by nature, then it means that he can take that moment and also say something nice to you. Another point I want you to take away is that even if you saw red flags and somehow walked into that toxic relationship, stop blaming yourself. What has happened has happened. The conditioning that we have is so deep. We walk straight into fire just to say, I'm a good woman. Stop blaming yourself. There are even also many countless women out there who weeded out the bad toxic men, picked up a good man, and still got betrayed by their so-called good men. If you have found yourself in that situation where you are with a man that describes himself, I'm not romantic, I am not this, he does not acknowledge you, he does not treat you with respect, he treats you as someone that is less than human, what you need to focus on is finding your way out of that mess, alive and well. Enough of bashing yourself, enough of saying, had I known. Save those prayers, and if you must pray, use it as a time for inward reflection and meditation on what it is you have given up just to be able to maintain that relationship. Begin to count all your losses so that you have enough motivation to take the next best step for your own safety and well-being. And in final summary, you are not a dependent. You were not created to be a dependent. You have all the capacity. God is your provider, and he has already put a system in you to make sure that you are provided for and that you are protected. If you are in an environment or in a relationship where you feel threatened, let your self-preservation skills kick in. Don't be trying to do good girl and stay there and they will hurt you or unalive you. Don't do that to yourself. Use your hands to work. Anybody that is telling you, I love you so much that I don't want you to work, come and stay at home, I'll be feeding you. Understand that the person that feeds you has the power to starve you. Even the Bible says, he that will not work, let him not eat. And it also says that a laborer is deserving of their wages. He's not doing you a favor if you are staying home and he's providing. Don't even put yourself in that situation. Do whatever it takes to make sure you always have a means to take care of yourself, because you were created to be an independent, autonomous person. Any relationship that strips you of your capacity to be independent and autonomous will take away your free will whenever they have the opportunity to. You don't want to give anybody that kind of power over yourself. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you in my next video.